Right, Joy News Interactive and my pizza Sabede is here. Hello, ma'am.
Izzy, how are you?
I'm well, how about you?
I'm great, thank
All
you.
right.
Get your gadgets ready. Let's get interactive on Facebook and Twitter. We're Joy News on TV. As usual, send us a message, a picture, or a video of the day on WhatsApp. The number is 055-815-7074. Now, an explosion Wednesday dawn around the Ghana Armed Forces Ammunition Depot at Michelle Camp has left the residents terrified. The residents wish the ammunition depot is relocated and the armory was there before the civilians pitched camp. Now we're asking you, who should move, the citizens or the depot?
If it's a place where it's like a military base, it's a military base where the military man stays, and they'll be there before the residents started staying there. So you shouldn't expect the military to live there because that place belongs to them, and a lot of things are still there whereby the resident doesn't know about. So the military should be there. That is it.
The residents, well, because the military were already occupying the place, so I think the residents should move.
I think the residents should move because it's a place where military installation has been kept. That place formerly is meant for only military with armory. So if the citizens have been building to that extent whereby they are encroached on this military design, then they have to move.
We posted that on Facebook. Let's see what you have been saying. We're going to start with Yabba Solomon, who says, as a country, we lack men of balls. The armory was there before the civilians pitched camp. So this shows a clear weakness in leadership. And Davison Jr. says, same thing going on at the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. All the lands have been sold with school built and private apartments built around it. We're jokers in this country, and I know those who put up this armory and nuclear centers know the implications, hence sitting them far away from settlement. We will wait till disaster happens, then we blame government. All
right, so Prosper also comes in and says the cost of moving or relocating the citizens would more as compared to the armory, will cost more as compared to the armory depot. Move the armory and protect its territories against encroachment. So Obama Poka says, why must the armory be relocated? I blame town and country planning and various assemblies for sitting aloof to allow houses to spring up in such a sensitive area. Kwesi Ayepa says, there are certain things it's non-negotiable. No matter how far you relocate the armory, development will catch up. Remember, development caught up with Michelle Camp. It's better the settlers move and authorities ensure they don't return for their own safety. Vincente says for security reasons, which armory should be moved. It was there before all of you bought land and built around it. In Ghana, here, if a place is waterlogged, and they warn you not to build there, you won't listen. When something happens later, you blame government. You better relocate yourself. Kudu says measures should be taken to curb future occurrence because if the armory is relocated, people still build to the place where they are relocated. Remember, the time the armory was established, there were no people residing there, but now there are many settlers around the armory.
Simon Scenic Boating says the civilians came to meet the armory, so why should the armory be moved? They should have known that one day this will happen. And Ahassan says, I think these weapons should be kept at a place far from human settlement. And Nsua says, for security reasons, the armory should be moved because we don't know who's watching and hasn't interest.
Herb. Yo, I don't think we should talk about this. Come on, why not? People might misunderstand what we're trying to say, you know? No, but that's a part of life. Come on. Let's talk about sex, baby.
Okay, children, let's talk about sex. Mommy and daddy come together and they do it. Teacher, I have a question. Your 4-year-old son or daughter comes home one day and tells you that he or she knows what sex is. As a parent, hearing this from your 4-year-old child who probably can't even write their own name might come as a shock. Now, when do you start explaining what sex is to your child? Well, speaking on the AM show, Adra Yeni, National Program Analyst of the Adolescent Sexual Reproductive Health at UNFPA, says we need to start sexual education at a young age.
Once a child develops, the issues of sexuality. And comprehensive sexuality education is supposed to be age appropriate and culturally sensitive. So the Ghana Education Service will tell you that we teach CSE right from kindergarten. When a child is in kindergarten and they start learning about their hands, their legs, their wee-wee or whatever they choose to call it, and knowing that that is the actual thing, we have started a process of sexuality education, which is appropriate for that age. The parents can reinforce the messages at home. If our teachers will also not be shy, you know, and be able to teach CSE as it should be taught, I think we will have better outcomes when it comes to issues like condom use and STI prevention.
Now, on the streets of Accra, we asked you, how early will you start sex ed with your child and how will you go about it? But before we go to the streets of Accra, Izzy, how early will you start with your children? Or have you started with your children?
Yes, we have. We actually have. We've had that conversation. I actually had a conversation with my daughter about menstruation. And I've had a conversation with her about sex. Or my wife had a conversation with her about sex. And I had a conversation with my boys about sex.
All right, now let's go to the streets of Accra and see what people are saying.
I would start as early as they start to discover their reproductive organs. Like if they start, you know, toddlers, sometimes they touch themselves. I would try to educate them and give them a vocabulary to describe their own body. And then not necessarily talk about sex, but tell them that these parts are important and that they need to keep them healthy at least. So I can't give a specific age. It would depend on the development of my kid.
12 and above. Because I think that by that time they are a bit matured so that they can cope with certain information. I'll tell them that sex education is good, and I think that they should cope with everything that will be taught in terms of informing them. Then also, I'll let them know that they shouldn't abuse the information, because these days it is no more in the system, unlike some of us that were taught during the JHS time, but now it's no more in the system.
I'll start educating them right from primary school, immediately they enter the primary school, because right from there they start having peer groups who will influence them one way or the other, make them aware of certain things that people can do to them, especially the girls. When you come into contact with a man and the man wants to touch your breast, tell the person, I'll tell mommy, I don't like that. Let them know what is right and wrong.
All right, before we go to Facebook, let me take some of your WhatsApp messages. This one says, I wish the armory should be relocated to Shy Hills Training Center area, and the area must be protected from encroachment. Aziz Donla from Y says, it's worrisome to see this happening to the military. This one says, the citizens should be moved and it should be stopped. This is from Noah. And Kofi in Takoradi says, our authorities should be proactive for once. I shock, give Ghana. Walanya Nakatia says, I think it's very hard to move the residents without involving politics. It will turn into NDC and NPP politics. Now let's go to Facebook. I asked you, how early will you start sex education with your child and what will you tell them? We start with Walanya Katia, who says, I was taught sex education when I was in JSS 3. So for me too, I will teach them after their intermediate education. And Samson says, I thought I learned, okay, all the sex positions until my neighbor said, Bob, climb the wardrobe and jump on my, all right, I fear. Okay, let's go to Seth, who says, 12 years. Right. Okay, yeah, Seth.
Seth says 12 years. And I'll tell him or her to avoid men's gold customers, Goro Boys and Liverpool fans. I'll also tell him or her the things he needs to clean him or herself. Kwesi Boateng says, I'm writing for a friend who has run out of data. He said, he starts teaching them about sex the very day they get married. Oh, why? Thank you, Ernest Hemming. I have posted it. Buy data and come and check on what I posted is what she said. Jerry, 12 months. Lesson 1, Mama boss Papa, Papa boss Mama. Lesson 2, wish. What's that?
What is that?
Honorable says 6 years for boys and 10 years for girls. Yakubu says when it has to do with your children, you have to be point blank. Tell them right in the face that sex is a sacred act that cannot be abused at their tender growing age. Every secret about this thing called sex must be unveiled to them. Osikeni Brakwan says, at least at 11 years, I start giving my lovely child sex education. I will warn him or her about guru boys, evil girls, and I will educate him or her the need to avoid premarital sex. Kudus Salasan says, I will start giving sex education to my child at the age of 10, and I will tell them the following. Never say yes to any proposal until you reach the age of 25. Never lose your virginity to any man unless your marriage partner. Betrayal in man-woman relationship is real. Okay.
All right, let's go to WhatsApp. And this one says, why are you teaching them sex? Who taught them how to suck breast? Okay. And then this one says 12 or 13 years above, and this is from by Kiwi. And Alois from Sunyani says sex education needs to be taught in basic school. Okay, let's check out what's trending on Twitter, our top 5 trends on our Ghana Trends. The first one is Sammy GMP, the NDC Communications Director. And the second one is Bielsa, yes, and that's the Argentine football manager. Soulja Boy is also trending after his interview on The Breakfast Club, and he was throwing shade at Drake, saying that he made him. And at number 4, Juventus is trending after Cristiano Ronaldo scored a goal in the 61st minutes of the game between AC Milan, making them the Super Coppa Italiana champs. And number 5 is Theresa May, who is also trending after surviving a no confidence motion by 19 votes. Those are your top 5 trends on Twitter. You can catch us, Joy News, on TV. That is all for Joy News Interactive. I am Abisa CBD. Over to you, Izzy.
All right, thank you very much, Maps. And that'll be it for the bulletin. My name is Israel. Thank you very much for watching. You have a good night, and we'll see you again tomorrow.